Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're a US green card holder, listen closely, because 2025 has brought some major travel changes you absolutely need to know about before you even think about packing your bags. I'm serious, these new rules are already catching people off guard, and a single mistake could cause huge problems when you try to come back into the country. I've been getting so many messages from viewers saying things like, I traveled home for just a few months, and now I'm stuck. Or I didn't know this rule changed, and now immigration officers are questioning my residency. And trust me, you don't want to be in that situation. Whether you've had your green card for 6 months or 6 years, the new 2025 travel guidelines affect everyone. Here's the thing. Many people still believe the old travel rules apply, that as long as you come back within 6 months, everything's fine. But that's no longer the full picture. Immigration officers are paying closer attention to your travel history, how long you're spending abroad, and even your ties to the US. Things like your tax records, employment, and family connections can now make a big difference when you re-enter. So today, we're going to go through the 5 new travel rules every green card holder needs to know in 2025. Clear, simple, and without all the legal jargon. I'll explain what's changed, what hasn't, and what you can do to protect your residency status before your next trip. Because the last thing I want is for you to lose everything you've worked for just because of a travel mistake. So grab a notebook, get comfortable, and stay with me to the end. And hey, if you appreciate clear, honest updates that actually help you stay safe and informed, please take a second to like this video. It helps so much and lets YouTube show this information to more green card holders who really need it. All right, so let's start breaking this down clearly, because I know how stressful it can feel trying to keep up with all these new immigration updates. You've worked hard to get your green card. You've followed every rule, paid your taxes, and done everything right. And now, just because of a few changes in travel policy, you're suddenly wondering, am I still safe to travel? I get it. And I promise by the time you finish this video, you're going to understand exactly what's going on, what's changed in 2025, and what you can do to avoid trouble at the airport. First, let's talk about what's causing all this confusion. Over the past year, immigration officials have started tightening how they evaluate continuous residence for permanent residents. That's the key phrase you're going to hear a lot. Continuous residence. It means you're still living primarily in the United States and not using your green card like a visitor pass. In the past, people could spend several months abroad and come back without much questioning. But this year, things have changed. Now, Customs and Border officers have access to more integrated travel data. That means they can instantly see how long you've been outside the US, how often you've left, and even patterns that suggest you might actually be living somewhere else. If they think you're spending more time abroad than in the US, they can challenge your reentry or even refer you for what's called a deferred inspection, which basically means they'll look deeper into whether you still qualify to keep your green card. And here's what a lot of people don't realize. It's not just about the total time you spend outside the country. It's also about your intent. Immigration officers are trained to look for signs that you may have shifted your life elsewhere. If you're spending 8 months abroad every year, keeping a home overseas, or working outside the US full-time, that could raise red flags. Even if you technically came back before hitting the 6-month mark, they want to see that your real life, your family, your home, your taxes, your community, is based here. Now, I know that's tough for a lot of people. Maybe your parents live abroad. Maybe you're helping take care of family. Or maybe you just needed to travel for an extended time. That's totally understandable. But if that's your situation, you need to plan ahead carefully. For example, before you travel, make sure your US ties are clear. Keep your address, your bills, your bank accounts, and your tax filings active here. It's your way of showing, hey, my home is still in America. That's something officers really pay attention to. Another big shift that's catching green card holders by surprise is how immigration is now tracking repeated short trips. In the past, people thought as long as you never stayed abroad for 6 months straight, you were safe. But in 2025, the focus isn't just on one long trip, it's on patterns. If you're traveling back and forth too often, spending 4 months abroad, 2 months in the US, then back again, that can actually look suspicious. The government might assume you're using your green card more like a tourist visa, and that could lead to questioning. And here's something else that's new. Officers at reentry points are now asking more detailed questions about employment and taxes. They might ask, where do you work? Do you still have a U.S. job? Or when did you last file taxes? It's their way of checking that your life is genuinely based in the United States. So, if you've been working remotely for a foreign company while living overseas, that could get complicated. Make sure you're prepared to explain your situation honestly but clearly. Let's talk about something really important: the reentry permit. A lot of people still don't know how powerful this document is. If you know you'll be outside the US for an extended period, say more than 6 months, but less than 2 years, a reentry permit can save your status. It's like an official note to immigration saying, I'm not abandoning my residency, I'm just temporarily away. In 2025, reentry permits are being checked more carefully, and it's taking longer to process them. So apply early if you know you're going to need one. Now, let's say you didn't plan ahead and you've been abroad for close to a year. What happens then? That's where things get risky. If you stay outside the US for more than 12 months without a reentry permit, your green card can be considered abandoned automatically. When you try to come back, the officer can deny entry and hand you a form called I-407, which is a voluntary abandonment form. You never, ever want to sign that without speaking to a lawyer. I've seen people panic at the airport, sign it without realizing what it is, and lose their status instantly. If that ever happens to you, or if you think you're at risk, talk to an immigration attorney before you travel. Don't wait until you're standing in front of an officer at the border. In 2025, immigration lawyers are seeing more of these cases because the system is more digital now. Everything from your flight records to your phone usage abroad can be reviewed if they suspect you're living outside the US full time. Another point that's often overlooked is how this all connects to your path to citizenship. If you're planning to apply for naturalization soon, you need to be extra careful about your travel history. Long trips abroad can break your continuous residence requirement, which means you'd have to wait longer to qualify. Even if you return before 6 months, frequent or long absences can still raise questions during your citizenship interview. The officer might ask for proof that you truly maintain your U.S. residence. So keeping good records, things like rent payments, job letters, or even school attendance for your kids, can make a big difference later. I know that sounds like a lot of rules to remember, but here's the bottom line. The U.S. government wants to make sure permanent residents are genuinely living here, not just using green cards as travel passes. So, if you're planning a trip in 2025, take some time to get organized. Make sure your taxes are filed. Keep your address updated with USCIS. If you're traveling for more than 6 months, look into getting that reentry permit early. These small steps can save you a lot of trouble down the road. Now, let's be real, immigration officers can be intimidating, and dealing with airport questioning can feel nerve-wracking. But remember, as a lawful permanent resident, you have rights. You can't be denied entry without a proper process. If they question you, stay calm, be respectful, and answer honestly. You can always request to speak with a supervisor or have an attorney review your case afterward. Don't let fear make you say or sign something you don't fully understand. And please, don't let this information scare you from traveling altogether. The whole point of this video isn't to make you afraid, it's to make you aware. Traveling as a green card holder is still completely fine as long as you follow the right steps and understand the current rules. The problem only comes when people assume the old guidelines still apply. That's where they get caught off guard. I know so many of you watching this are immigrants who have worked incredibly hard to build a life here. Maybe you left everything behind: family, friends, even your career, to start over in America. That green card in your hand isn't just a piece of plastic. It represents years of sacrifice, patience, and hope for a better future. So protecting it should always be a priority. And the good news is, when you understand how the system works, you have nothing to fear. You're just being smart, and you're taking control of your future. If you've already made travel plans for this year, double-check your details before you leave. Make sure your green card is valid, your passport has enough validity, and your return dates are clear. If you're unsure about how long you can stay abroad, consult an immigration expert before your trip. It's so much easier to prevent a problem than to fix it later. And hey, if this video is giving you clarity right now, if it's helping you breathe a little easier because things are starting to make sense, then please take a quick second to like this video. Seriously, it makes a huge difference. It tells YouTube that this kind of content matters, and it helps other green card holders find the same answers you're getting right now. Plus, it motivates me to keep bringing you real, trustworthy updates without all the legal fluff. The truth is, 2025 is shaping up to be a year where immigration enforcement and travel documentation are more closely watched than ever. But that doesn't have to be a bad thing. If you stay proactive, if you keep your information straight, you'll be fine. The people who get into trouble are usually the ones who didn't know the rules or thought they didn't matter anymore. You're already ahead by just watching this and staying informed. So keep watching, because in a moment, I'm going to explain how to prepare for travel interviews and secondary inspections if they happen to you, what to expect, how to answer questions confidently, and what not to say that could accidentally cause a problem. You're going to want to know this part, especially if you've been out of the country for a while. And remember, this channel is all about helping you navigate life as a green card holder confidently. You've earned your place here, and you deserve peace of mind when it comes to your status. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't yet, and share it with a friend or family member who might be planning to travel soon. You could save them from a serious headache just by passing this along. All right, let's get into what really happens when you re-enter the US as a green card holder in 2025, and how to make that process as smooth as possible.